This morning we will hear an amazing story from the Word. Joshua was chosen to be the leader over the children of Israel, and he had to lead the people into the land. And the biggest thing was conquering the land, because at the time there were many idolatrous and evil nations in the land. So Joshua will lead the people to conquer, and after that, he will divide the land. As the Lord had commanded Moses, his servant, so Moses commanded Joshua, and so Joshua did. He left nothing undone of all that the Lord had commanded Moses. Thus Joshua took all this land, the mountain country, all the south, all the land of Goshen, the lowland, and the Jordan plain, the mountains of Israel and its lowlands, from Mount Halak and the ascent to Seir, even as far as Beer Gad, in the valley of Lebanon, below Mount Hermon. He captured all their kings and struck them down and killed them. Joshua made war long time with all those kings. There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel except the Hivites, the inhabitants of Gibeon, or the others they took in battle. For it was of the Lord to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, that he might utterly destroy them, and that they might receive no mercy, but that he might destroy them, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And at that time Joshua came and cut off Anakim from the mountains, from Hebron, from Debir, from Anab, from all the mountains of Judah, from all the mountains of Judah, and from all the mountains of Israel. Joshua utterly destroyed them with their cities. Our further reading is taken from Heavenly Secrets, New Church Teachings. In the Lord there was not any evil that was actual or his own, as there is in all men, but there was hereditary evil from the mother, which is here called the Canaanite, than in the land. Concerning this, we see what was said above, namely, that there are two hereditary natures connate in man, one from the father, the other from the mother. That which is from the father remains to eternity, but that which is from the mother is dispersed by the Lord while the man is being regenerated. The Lord's hereditary nature from his father, however, was the divine. His hereditary from the mother was evil, and this is treated of here, and his death through which he underwent temptations. Amen. It's very important to have trustful and capable leaders. So when we come to elections, we take it very seriously. Why is that important to have reliable and dedicated leaders? Because they make all important decisions for us. So if we do not choose the right ones, we will be in trouble. So the children of Israel didn't have to worry about election and their leaders, because very nicely the Lord appointed the right people. The Lord chose and he appointed their judges, their priests, and later their kings. But obviously some of them chose to do evil things, but the Lord did his best to find and to choose the best ones for the children of Israel. Now Moses, he became age 120. Now, what's going to happen when a person becomes 120? You will go out and do all kinds of works. Maybe time to retire, and maybe time to retire from this world. So Moses joined his ancestors. Then what will happen to the children of Israel? He will be missed a lot, because we know that Moses was a very great leader. And he was very charismatic and wise and courageous. Now the Lord will select another man for that job. Who was chosen to replace Moses? Joshua was chosen for that job. But the task was huge, because they were about to enter into the land of Canaan, and after entering, they have to fight a lot, because many evil nations were in the land, and they will not give up what they have. They wouldn't say, take my houses, it's nice, and take my oxen and sheep, you can take them. You can have my vineyard. They wouldn't say that. So Joshua has a huge job before him. And after taking them into the land and take down all the enemies, another huge job was dividing the land, so that all the people in the children of Israel, in the congregation, could have their own land, could have their own territory. But Joshua was almost perfect. Why I'm saying almost? Because he kind of made a mistake. When Joshua became the leader and they stayed in Gilgal, some people came down and visited Joshua. Here's a map. Can you see Gibeon here? So some ambassadors came down from Gibeon and came to Gilgal to meet with Joshua. But they pretended to be coming from a very distant country, because they brought some worn out wineskin and moldy and very hard bread. And they were wearing terrible clothing, sandals. So they said, we came from a far country, and let's make a peace covenant with us. Don't worry about us, because we are very away, and we're not going to be on your way. Joshua made a peace covenant. But he is supposed to do a very important thing, but he didn't do that. What was that? The part he was missing. He didn't check with the Lord before making that important decision. So Joshua said, yes, let's make a peace covenant with you, peace treaty, so now you will be our friends. Then this became a problem. Why? Look at this land. There are all other evil people around the Gibeonites. So the king of Adonai-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, he heard about this. He was very angry, because Gibeon was pretty mighty and big city in comparison to small city Ai. Can you see Ai, the small dot? The map is very precise, isn't it? Huge city, tiny city. So king of Jerusalem, Adonai-Zedek, he was very upset, and he invited other kings. King of Jarmuth, king of Hebron, king of Lachish, king of Eglon. So these 5 Ammonite kings gathered together, and they decided to form united military power. For what? To teach the Gibeonites a lesson, because they betrayed and they joined the enemy side, Israelites. So when Gibeonites heard about this, they were encamping before Gibeon. They sent some people to Joshua in Gilgal and said, "Do not forsake us. Please help us. Please save us. These mighty 5 kings gathered together and they're going to attack us. Please do something." And this time Joshua checked with the Lord. "The Lord, can I go and help them?" The Lord said, "Yes, because you made a peace treaty. So these people would be your liability, your responsibility." And the Lord promised, "And I will rout them. I will handle those people and put those enemies into your hand." So Joshua gathered these people and he got into battle, these 5 kings. But the Lord, as he promised, he sent down hailstones from the sky. So the hailstones killed more people than Joshua killed with the edge of the sword. So in this way, the Lord took care of that. And after conquering these 5 cities one by one, Joshua started the conquest of the southern area. And he took all the cities in the south. Then Joshua, he formed his army and he started his conquering battle in the north. And at that time, Hazor was the biggest city. The king of Hazor, Jabin, also did the same thing. He chose to fight against the children of Israel rather than surrender, rather than making peace with them. And Joshua, obviously, he was not afraid. He was very capable and he was a courageous man. He gathered his army and he attacked all the cities in the north. Total 31 cities were invaded, were attacked by Joshua, and they took them. But when they attacked in the northern part, they had something different from the south. The northern cities, they had many horses. Does it look like a horse? Because we do not have a horse, we invited a donkey. But they are cousins, right? And they had lots of horses and also they have many chariots. So very strong people on today. But Joshua, he was very courageous. He crippled their tendon, hamstrung them, and also Joshua burned their chariots. And in this way, they took down all those places and conquered, and they took away their belongings as the Lord commanded. Think about this amazing story. But we know that all the stories in the Word are symbolic. And we know that in the Gospel, Matthew 13:34, the Lord did not say a parable. The Lord did not say the Lord did not teach the people without a parable. So what he says, what he taught, what he did, all these things are kind of parables. What is a parable? We have a certain interesting story, but all those of them have deeper lessons for us. So the word of the Lord was written in the same way. We can see Joshua did amazing things. He defeated his enemies. But in the deeper sense, it has spiritual lesson for us. So this heavenly Canaan, we call the heavenly land, symbolically means or pictures our church and the Lord's heaven, and maybe our heavenly life and our heavenly mind. And all these people in the land symbolize all kinds of evils and falsities we have. When Joshua came into the land, there were many, many evil nations. You can see here Ammonites, Moabites, And there are Perizzites, Canaanites, Hivites, Hittites, Jebusites. You can name that. There are so many evil nations. So that, in a way, tells us that we have those many problems in our hearts and minds, perhaps in our life. So we have various kinds of evil desires and false ideas. And how can we deal with them? Do you think we can just leave them there? That will be a problem, right? Because we know that when we have false ideas, when we have evil desires, we have to face the consequences. Think about when we have strong and evil ideas. Like if we believe the Lord, Jehovah is very harsh, very strict, dreadful, and fearful, and He doesn't forgive, then perhaps we may pick up the same character, and we may be very hard people, we may be very strict, and we may be unforgiving people. And think about this. If we believe we can be saved by just faith alone, by just knowing the Lord died for us, if we accept that, if we make it our religious principle, perhaps I don't want to do anything good further because eventually I will be saved no matter what I do. And I don't have to change my behaviors. Perhaps I don't have to stop doing bad things because I will be going to heaven by acknowledging the Lord. So when we have these false ideas, that's very destructive. And these evil people in the land symbolize those false ideas and bad desires which we have. Unless we take them down, unless we move them out of our minds and our lives, we will face the consequences. How can we fix our problems? Think about the land, the Holy Land. When they invite Joshua and his people, his army, the land turned to be good and nice and turned over to good people. And here Joshua symbolically means truth from the word, more specifically fighting truth. So when we learn the Lord's truth from the word, and when we apply it, when we abide by them, we can destroy these strong enemies in our thoughts, in our life, and we will get better. And also, these evil people were in the Lord too. As we read from Heavenly Secrets, the New Church Doctrine, when the Lord was born, He was also hereditary evils from Mary. So these Canaanites, these evil people also mean the hereditary evils which the Lord received from Mary. But we know that the Lord went through many temptations, and the Lord removed all those things. Then He was unified with the Father. The Lord asks us the same thing us to do. And we clearly remember that the Lord has taught us, take up your cross and follow me. It's hard. But He showed an example. He received those all hereditary evils and false ideas. But fighting against them, the Lord destroyed them and removed them, as Joshua did. And the Lord is telling us the same thing to do, so that we can be better people. And eventually we will go into His kingdom when we graduate, when we retire from this world. And only possible way, as the land of Canaan, when they led Joshua and his army, they became better. They became Holy Land. exactly the same way, we need to bring in the Lord's truth into our ideas, into our thoughts, into our lives. And when we abide by them, we will be the Lord's people, holy people. That's why the Lord said, "Blessed are the pure in heart, they shall see God." Amen.